Welcome to CK4RC.
In the movie Cars, there are no people. The cars are the people. Towmater is a tow truck, which essentially makes him an ambulance. He lives in a junkyard, which means that he's just surrounded by dead bodies? Listen, that's messed up. I mean, that's not just me, right? I don't know, man. All right, anyway. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Sorry if that led to an awkward conversation with your children. Wasn't really going for that, but listen, I don't know what goes on up here. Things happen, and then I say stuff out loud, and then other people have to deal with it. Sorry about that. Anyway, welcome back to the channel. I'm here in somebody else's house, hanging out in their kitchen. I don't have my banner behind me because it's not my house. I just said that. But I do have this sweet Only RCs t-shirt. Love it. Crawler design came from one of the pictures that I sent to them, so it's obviously great. But anyway, go to their website, onlyrcs.com. Use my discount code CK4RC to get 20% off your order. T-shirts, banners, cups, decals, all the good stuff. Support the brand, support the hobby, all that good stuff. I'm going to put the discount code. I will paste it, double tap down below in the description, because we got probably right around here somewhere. It's probably going to be the like and then the thumbs down. Don't do that. That hurts my feelings, makes me sad. And then we got like the subscribe. This, I about said subscription. That's not what I was going for. Subscribe with the bells and the whistles and all that stuff. You can click on that too. That's great. Anyway, I am here at Axialfest Badlands this year, and I am volunteering for Fury Tech USA. Go get some awesome brushless gear. Can't plug that enough because it's awesome. But I'm working the booth with a couple fellers, and so I'm gonna bring Mr. Ken Pilcher in from the shop Mini RC. You know him a lot better than you know me. We're gonna talk about some stuff. So see what we can come up with, see what he's got to say. So let's get into that. Ken Pilcher.
What is up, dude? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic. Hot today. So hot. So dusty. So dirty.
I already took my shower. I'm ready to go to bed.
I'm going to take a shower right after this, and I'm going to bed. I'm going to edit some video.
This is going to be the dirtiest interview Ken has ever given.
Probably.
That is a guarantee. I'm going to guarantee it right here. You seeing it first on CK4RC.
I'm not excited for this.
That was awful. That was terrible. Ken.
Yes.
You've got two rigs over here. So sure. We are working the Fury Tech USA booth together. Mm-hmm. I wanted to scope out a couple of the rigs you brought with you. So first, if we could talk about the elephant in the room. the literal
elephant. This thing. So this, I mean, if you're on my channel, you probably have seen this video. If not, definitely go check it out. I have a full build video on this guy. But this,
the shop Mini RC, you guys know him a lot more than you know me, but got to get the plugs.
Maybe. Yeah, I might be new to somebody, and hopefully I'll bring some people over to you.
My kids. Boys, it's Ken.
What's up, kids? So this guy here is an 8x8 by 8x2, and that's the math, and I'm sticking to it. But what it means,
we checked it earlier, and it seems to math out.
The calculator says it works. 8x8 because we got 8-wheel steering, all under power, 8 wheels, all under power, 8-wheel steering, whatever. 8x8 and then the 2 is the 2 motors.
Not underpowered.
Not underpowered.
8 wheels.
Overpowered.
All under power.
They are under power. They are powered by
power.
Nailed it. Motor powers.
That's how RCs work.
Not Austin Powers. There's no gold on this anywhere.
And you don't have to Austin Powers it because all wheels steer.
Correct. Yeah. They go forward and backwards and left and right.
But you're not going to get stuck in a hallway because it will turn on a dime.
So, yeah, because it's an 8-wheel steer, and we're not going to show you right now, but what am I doing?
Yeah,
things aren't going to turn if I do that. We got some pretty good steering angle, which gives us an amazing turning radius. 2 different things, by the way, guys. Steering angle, turning radius. So our turn radius is like nuts with this thing when you max them out. So yeah, it kind of goes anywhere. It's funny, I'll take it to some comps with me sometimes, and obviously it's not class legal in any comp, but I'll run the class 3 gates. And people are like, you're not gonna make that gate. There's no way, it's too long. And I'm like, we just kind of pivot. 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 Yeah, so it's a beast.
So
you want to run through it or what?
Yes, I want to ask you about some of the components. So we've already done this just off camera throughout the day, but I want to show off some of this. So I'm aware that this is a custom built chassis, frame rail chassis.
Yeah.
Came from Hard Park, is that right?
Chad over at Hard Park, one of the best RC manufacturers for the 24 scale, in my opinion. Everything they do goes hard.
And I can safely say this is a one-off chassis.
Yes. Well, 2, because I have a backup.
One of 2, you're never going to get one.
No, they're both mine. One is aluminum and one is titanium.
Just in
Well,
case.
because we can.
So why not?
So yeah, just in case. So we actually prototyped a couple different things. One of them basically got destroyed. But I do have a titanium backup at home that someday will get swapped over. It's a lot of work to swap the chassis rails. But yes, Hard Park aluminum chassis on this guy with Hard Park cantilever. You're probably not going to see it in high detail, but
whenever we're done, I'm going to come back. I'm going to get a close-up of this suspension because it is gnarly.
yeah. So we'll
I
show
don't
you
know what
that.
else to call it.
He's probably showing it right now, but
That is above my editing skill level. We're going to do it at the end.
damn it! Try to give you an in. No. So anyway, guys, the chassis rails, again, all custom chassis rails. They're based on the Hard Park Goblin, actually, and the Goblin cantilever chassis. This was the first version ever of that. And he took that and made it into the chassis that you can now buy from Hard Park for a 4x4. Cantilever shocks here. We're going to be running on Reef's 179 smart micro servos, because they are programmable, and we needed to be able to program them because we're using stock electronics, which I should show you the remote, but it's over there. It's got dual wheels on it.
When I show you that suspension, we're going to bring that remote over too.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Spoiler alert.
So anyway, we got the Reefs on there, gnarly servos, tons of torque. We are running stock receivers from the SEX 24 V1 receiver, Komodo, Micro Komodo, and Lizard Ultimate from Furatech, and some Mofo 3S battery cells here. When I built this truck, I wanted to kind of highlight all of my favorite brands at the time and things that they were doing. That was kind of the goal of this truck, because I was like, let me build this crazy truck, most expensive, insane SCX 24 ever. So far it is. It's a pricey rig, because it's all top of the line stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like these servos are like $80 or $90 a piece, which is nuts, right? And I have 4 of them. So I wanted, again, it was more about making that wow factor. Give me that wow factor. And so we got that. The Hard Park is some of the best chassis in the game. Their cantilever, they're the only ones that had a good cantilever setup. There's one other company, but it was eh. And so, and then their wheels.
We'll leave them unnamed. We're not trying to
I don't want to badmouth anybody. It's not that bad, but I couldn't do this with it. And then so Hard Park wheels here.
Clear.
They're clear
You can see
light
through
brand
them.
wheels. You can see right through them, yeah. With all the red you see on this is custom powder coating. It's by Hooker's Garage. This was the last thing they did with their business before they stopped powder coating.
Nice.
They said they would take one more job, and it has to be this truck. So they powder coated everything red that you see, all the nuts and bolts. It's like $300+ in powder coating, which is crazy. And then we got into the bottom here. Okay, this bottom is 3Flow9 steering links. My boy out of Colorado, his Delrin skids. He hit those rocks, crazy. Inner skids all the way down through, and then more roller bearings on the back. We're running OGRC pin comps with flubber stuffer inserts in all 8 tires that were at the time a custom size that Flubber did not offer, because I was the first to get the OGRC pin comps. I had a hand in designing these tires. And so when I got them, I told Flub I needed inserts, and he got to work on that. Also an awesome company. You don't see it, but it's in there. So I want to make sure they get a shout out there. And then OGRC or Mias, depending on who you ask, both companies provide them. The portals with Maz Design brass knuckles on the front of the truck. I think that's most everything on this truck. It's enough no-name shocks. So we're gonna change those over at some point to Next Racing oil-filled true reservoir shocks.
Because those came out after this build.
They came out after.
And they're better.
And they're the best shocks on the market, in my opinion. Yeah, they're nasty. That's it. I think that's the whole truck. Oh, and then the body, which is a work in progress prototype.
Prototype. Never before seen, except for by kind of a lot of people in different places.
It hasn't even been seen on my channel yet.
Listen, it's been seen, but it's also, you get to see it here now too.
It's based on I believe it's a Russian truck. It's an 8x8, shorter wheelbase, so we had to stretch it out a little bit, but it's called the Shaman. It's a badass overlander truck, and it's kind of inspired by that. There's some changes we want to make here, but it's got a removable bed. We're going to try to fit an stock SCX 24 in the back, so use it as a tow rig, sort of. But I wanted something aggressive and sporty, because you always see 8x8s that are military, right? And like, I didn't want to do another military or flatbed wrecker truck. I wanted to do something different.
And black and red is kind of Ken's thing if you haven't picked up on the color scheme.
I like black and red. What's weird is
It's kind of a trademark, if you will.
I did some graphic design work in my lifetime, and I hated working with red. I hated red. I hate red. It's a hard color to deal with in graphic design, and I said I would never use red. But for some reason, when it came to the shop and Mini RC, the red was, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I picked it. It's a weird thing. I need to dive deep inside and figure out what changed.
So speaking of the shop,
Yeah.
you've got an MB24 over here.
Oh yeah.
This thing comes with your stickers.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So this is Mias Racing MB24. This is a little bit customized. It used to be an SUV. I chopped it into more of a truck, open cab rear, and flipped over all of the tube work in the back to make clearance for rear steer. Because with the stock chassis, you can't do that, or the tube chassis portion. So I wanted to do that because I wanted to highlight my boy 3Flow9 again and his rear steer servo setup. He's got a micro, smaller than most of the front micros that goes on the rear. It's a much smaller, lighter servo. It's still got really good torque, obviously not as much as the fronts, but it's an amazing servo for a rear steer because you want the rear lighter because you want a 60/40 weight bias.
Yep.
So he's got a custom link riser servo mount, kind of 2-in-1 combo, badass. Go check it out. Drops right onto your SCX 24 axle. However, this guy's running Mias Isokinetics. And the Mias Isokinetics use a dedicated servo mount, which means you can only use their servo mounts. So this guy took a lot of work to kind of grind away at the axle to get a standard servo mount to fit. So I could use the 3Flow9 rear servo mount. So a lot of work went into that. But yeah, we're running the hard park wheels again because in my opinion, best wheels on the planet. I have a video on that, like 30,000, maybe even at this point because he's got new faces, 50,000 combinations of wheel faces. 50,000.
Hard park anything, top of the line.
You can make wheels that nobody else has.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Their booth literally is right next door to us at Axialfest Badlands, and I can confirm because I spent, I don't know, probably no less than, I don't know, a good portion of the day just looking at the wheel rings and listen, they got it and it's great.
They're so cool because you can stack the faces and rotate them to make different patterns based on the faces you have, and then they also have outer rings, and they're all in carbon or titanium.
Yes. So
you can do like a carbon back with a titanium front and another carbon ring on the outside, and like have a wheel nobody else on the planet has.
Yep.
Again, so when I did the video, 30,000, but I think if we mapped it again with the new rings and faces, you'd be at 50,000 combinations, easy. This is exponential, it's wild. Anyway, the most wheel options on the planet for any 1.0 sized wheels when it comes to custom faces. Super sick. And again, we're running Mofo. Again, love Mofo, his trailing arms, but I had to customize them because they weren't working for the length. So I chopped off where your shocks usually go.
Those are hefty on the rear too.
Ground them down, relocated and tapped the rear, so drilled a new hole and re-tapped that aluminum for shocks. Those Next Racing shocks I was talking about are on here. Some of the smoothest shocks ever. They're true reservoir. There's no other 24 or even 18 shocks on the market that use a true reservoir, which means that reservoir is full of oil. And the oil passes through the reservoir, through a valve, into the main shock body. And you can adjust a plunger in that reservoir to adjust the stiffness of the shock and the dampening of the shock. It's a wild thing, and
so
it's tiny.
So you can essentially change the weight of the shock oil without actually changing the weight of the shock oil.
Yep.
That's basically kind of how it works.
Yep.
Nobody
on the planet does that though. Like they're the only shocks that can do that. For the minis. At this scale, yeah. There's 10 scale shocks that do that. It's kind of a standard. Like if your shocks don't do that, they're not good shocks. But in the minis, they're just so small, it's hard to do that.
Yep.
And these do it. And so, yeah, I got a full breakdown on my channel of that shock as well for the TRX. We literally take the whole thing apart, because that's what we do, and we show the O-rings, the spacers, the oil valve, everything, so you can see it. And then we put it back together. Just in case you take yours apart and don't know how to put it back together, I figured people would use it as a good reference. What else we got in here? Probably some FearTech stuff, because, well...
So this is one of your...
Love FearTech.
Latest builds, right?
This is my newest full build, full ground up build. Yeah.
Nice.
Because I do a lot of videos where we do upgrades on things.
Is this an exclusive?
Yeah, I haven't actually.
Hey, listen. This is just a video of firsts.
I haven't shown this on my channel at all. It might have been in the background of some videos. I might have mentioned it in a members only video and showed it like, this is what I'm doing, guys. Look at this. But I haven't done a video on it yet. And I don't know if I'm gonna. It was a personal build for myself, which doesn't happen very often.
How about that?
So inside, obviously, again, Micro Komodo, the best outrunner motor I think you can get, especially for the price of like $35. Sick motor.
It's just stupid good.
It's such a good motor. And then a Lizard Ultimate, my favorite sized ESC. It's an aluminum case, but the form factor is super tiny, smaller than the Python. But to be fair, the Python's a better, much better ESC. But that Python's pretty big. So I love the Ultimates just from the size standpoint. I wish they were a Python though, at that size. Just to be fair, they're both awesome though. And then again in the front, 3Flow 9 Torrent servo, which is one of the few servos that have a rear exit wire that comes out the back, which helps you not rub on your chassis rails.
Nice. So I wanted to ask you about that because I haven't used, or I don't have any experience with the 3Flow 9 servo.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously you're putting it in a solidly built truck, so no complaints.
No. 3Flow 9 servo is top of the line. Yeah.
So you're not going to bat an eye. Like if you're looking, if you've got a Reefs, if you've got a brand new Torque, look it up. You're going to thank me later.
Yeah.
And you've got a 3Flow 9, you're not going to bat an eye at any of those.
No, they're all good.
Nice.
They're all fantastic. The Torque servo is sick. The Torque servo is sick.
Yeah.
If you haven't shown that, tomorrow you need to show it.
I haven't yet because tomorrow I'm going to get some, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, so that Torque servo is an SCX dedicated servo that will mount straight to your axle without a servo mount, without an extra mount. So you save weight. Not that in the front's bad, but it's perfect for a rear. So you can put your weight on in different ways. It lowers the center of gravity, and more importantly, it clears up all the space between your servo and your chassis rails where you like to hit. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you have to like trim the servo ears or even your chassis rails so that they don't hit each other. It fixes all that. And it's got the most torque on the market right now. So it's actually got more torque than this. It's got more torque than the Reefs, more torque than the NSDRC that people like to claim has the most torque. It is a fantastic servo. 14.5 kilograms per centimeter, I believe.
And that is not to put anybody else's servos down. These
No.
are just the specs of the new Torque servo. That's all it is.
They're all great.
They're all great.
So I'll tell you right now.
We're just saying that the torque, worth it.
And it's $45. It's cheaper than all of them.
$45 comes with a built-in mount, so you don't have to get a tray. Comes with an aluminum servo horn.
Yep.
And then obviously
And all the specs per the box.
The strongest, fastest mini servo on the market.
0.06 per 60 degrees. Yeah, which is, I think the NSDRC is 0.06 per 60 at 8.4 volts. I know I'm throwing numbers out here, but
So it's tied for the fastest, which means it's still the fastest.
it's tied for the fastest amongst them, and maybe even the Reefs 99 is also 0.06. But the torque is better.
If you tied it first, you're still first.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, dope servo. Check it out.
yes.
But that servo also your rear exit wire.
Yes, you
just
mentioned
like
that. Yep.
the 3Flow 9, which again prevents your wire from getting caught on the chassis.
And yeah,
So-
getting damaged and frayed and cut eventually.
Yep. So yeah, Torrent on the front, 3Flow 9 Cascade on the back. The Cascade again is a servo you would never use in a front of your rig. It's not enough power. It's really designed for the rear, and again, it's tiny. So like you have a ton of clearance and lightweight, very lightweight. So that's big. And then of course the Mias. We didn't even talk about the actual Mias, right?
Not much.
So the Mias you mentioned has my logo on it. So I'm on the sticker sheet many times.
It's got several logos. It means he's legit. That's what it means.
It's not legit. But we got, I think Cape Crawlers is on there. RC Steve Microcrawler Club, which is the Utah club, and there's also a Facebook group for them. They're not a YouTuber or a manufacturer of any kind, but they are really involved in the community. In fact, Van, one of the founders, comes out and helps us at our booth. Usually he wouldn't be here. He would probably be here if you weren't, or, he's always there down to help.
Sorry, guys. You're stuck with me instead of Van.
Yeah.
Van, thank you for me.
We kicked Van out.
Sorry to everybody else.
So that this guy could come. Figured I'd give him a shot.
I'm blowing it.
No, he's.
But we're gonna see what happens.
It's been
I still got 2 more days. He's stuck with me for this.
It's been hot though. I'm putting him through hell. So you guys better like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell because he's going through hell. Just saying.
That's a fact. Now, we're mini guys.
I happen to,
We are 2 full-grown men.
Well.
But you're the shop mini RC.
Oh.
And
yeah, I thought you were making a height joke.
No, we are not mini.
No, we're both actually. So funny thing, I meet a lot of people at these events, and a lot of people are like, "You are way taller than I expected." I'm like, you can tell how tall I am from my hands because all my videos are my hands. No, but I'm 6'1". You're like 6'2",
6'3".
6'3".
Yep.
Big dudes.
Got a couple mini questions.
Little trucks.
And we're gonna get out of here. I'll get you out of here.
Many questions.
Appreciate your time, but I got 2 mini questions.
2 many questions?
I have 2 questions about minis.
Too many questions about minis.
I'm just gonna stick with 2.
Okay.
18 or 24.
Mini.
That is the most non-committal answer I can think of. Listen, I know it's not easy. Listen, 24 scale.
I don't like scale.
We've had this conversation.
I don't like the terms of 18 scale, 24 scale, because it makes me angry. Because things like, let's just say a company released a truck and called it a XYZ 18. Like it's an XYZ 18, right?
Sure,
18 scale.
18 would imply 18 scale.
Well, you would think. But
I would.
But when you get the truck after you ordered it from online, you're like, this truck looks awesome. XYZ 18, I'm gonna get one. Run it with my buddy's 18s. And you order this truck, and it comes in a box this big. As big as this. And you open that thing up and you're like, that's a 14 scale.
Can confirm. This hypothetical vehicle, we're talking made up vehicle.
Yeah, XYZ 18.
It's a 14 scale.
It's a 14 scale. So that kind of bothers me because scale, I love scale. Like scale trucks. I love details. I love it to look real.
The scale appearance.
The scale appearance.
But not the classification necessarily.
Not a size classification.
Gotcha.
Because it's so widely inaccurate historically through RC since the beginning. They were making 10 scale trucks that were 12 scales. Or 6 scales. Or 15 scales. Whatever scale it measures out to. And it's a hard thing even for manufacturers, right? If we really want to go deep, I could talk about it for a long time. But when you have a platform that's a 10th scale and you put a bug body on it, it's a 6th scale truck now. Because a Volkswagen Beetle is a very small car. But it's on a 10th scale traditional TRX High Trail, SCX 10, whatever. You put a bug body on it, it's a 6th or 8th scale, something like that. If you put a, can't even think of anything right now, but something that's huge.
A Ford Aerostar body.
There you go.
Proline makes that.
Ford Aerostar body. Now it's a 12 scale. Because that's a huge vehicle that's still the same size.
Yeah.
It's still the same size as all the other ones. So scale is relative to the body, not the wheelbase or anything like that. So when you say, is it an 18th scale, that doesn't mean it's 24 inches long. Like it could be a wide variety of actual sizes. So do I like 18th or 24th scale? I like small trucks, small cars. I can't tell you if I like accuracy in labeling your RTRs, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Please label your RTRs as close as you can without misleading the public.
Can't argue with that.
I can tell you platforms. There's platforms I like over other platforms because there's a quantifiable cost-benefit differentiation between the way the trucks are built.
Let me ask you this question, and this might kind of give us some clarification on the previous question. If you could have one truck, one platform,
Okay.
only one, for the rest of your hobby life, knowing that the aftermarket support would still exist and things would continue to be developed for that
So they
truck.
make new parts that bolt onto my whatever.
And improves it, and you're not going to get bored. You can still tinker with it, you can still improve it, but you can have one platform, only one.
So, but basically, I'm going to get an RTR and I'm stuck with that.
And you can tweak it.
But upgrade it. But I'm getting an RTR. That's the truck I live with.
Yep.
But upgrades.
That's it.
Does hard part count as an RTR?
They have one.
They're SCX based.
That's different.
Yeah, they're okay. So
Hard Park is in a league of their own. I mean, they really are.
their
And
RTRs are $700 or $800. So
for a SCX 24 based
yeah.
mini rig.
So I think if I was going to get an RTR, and you're going to say this truck is what you're going to get, whether I can modify it or not, and even if especially if I couldn't modify it ever again, the FCX 24. FCX 24, FCX 18, because they're the same, they're just different length.
Sure.
That platform is probably one of my favorites. I love the 2-speed for just entertainment.
It was
It's
groundbreaking.
fun. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. You can rip it around on a trail, switch gears, go crawl, right? I would like straight axles, less slop. There's a lot of upgrades I would like that don't exist right now that hopefully people will make. Actually, straight axle, Mias now makes a straight axle conversion and a straight axle isokinetic.
Well, FMS does have their straight axle line coming out.
So I have it, and it's very different.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want an FCX 24M for my forever. I love the truck.
But the classic FCX 24 platform.
2418 platform with the 2-speed that's the same in all of them. The axles that the Cayman uses. There's a reason the Cayman uses those axles. That platform, because the FCX 24M is a totally different transmission, which is
It's a totally different truck.
I'll tell you right now, that transmission is sick. Okay, the axles are kind of questionable in some ways, but for the value, that truck is amazing. But again, I don't want to live with that truck forever. There's some things I do not like about that truck, but as a truck, as a platform, worth every penny. But the FCX 24 18 platform is fantastic. The runner-up, if I'm going to get a runner-up, I think the Ascent 18.
Man, those trucks are so good.
I just forgot about it. I just remember the Evo Pro 2 though.
That's the tricky part.
There's a lot of good ones. And
See,
the
and
funny
that's
thing
why-
is the FCX 24 is an 18 scale, if you wanted to scale it. It's a larger. I wish the FCX 24 was smaller.
Yes.
I wish the new FCX 24M was literally just a smaller version of, like everything was designed to be the exact same, maybe some improvements, smaller version of the bigger FCX. That would be my choice.
So I think that minus the FCX part, but everything else you just named is what leads me more towards, I have found more satisfaction and enjoyment lately with the 18s. Because the Ascent 18 is an incredible truck. The Evo Pro
The Ascent
is an
18
incredible
is almost
truck.
a 24 though.
The Fury Wagon is awesome.
They're all good. They're all good. So the Fury Wagon is a Hobby Plus based platform.
Mhm.
So I guess, that's a close runner up too, because I love the Fury Tech stuff and I love the Evo Pro, and it's got 2-speed option.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to the FCX 24. I
Yeah.
almost feel like they're the same truck, even though they're not cross compatible with all the parts. They're literally designed the exact same way. So I like that, and I love an SCX, Axial SCX.
Yes.
I love an SCX. And there's infinite aftermarket parts, but if you took...
That's what makes those trucks so good. Because if we're talking about out of the box, those 18 scale rigs that are coming out right now,
Yeah, they smoke it.
killing it.
Yeah, they smoke it. But if you were to take an FCX platform truck and have all the same aftermarket support the SCX does, boy, let me tell you how cool some of those trucks would be. My only problem, again, is I like the true 24th size. So like a 24 scale size. So that's why one of the things that I love about the 24Ms, the FCX 24Ms, is their size. I like the Kyosho Mini Z truck,
Yeah.
right? But people have to remember that when they ask all the time, is it capable? Is the Mini Z capable? Does it beat an SCX 24?
Nope.
No, and the reason is size.
And-
Strictly size.
Yeah.
It's as well designed, if not in some way better designed, from a capability standpoint than an SCX24.
Well, listen, Kyosho knows
But
what
it's
to do.
smaller. It's smaller. So
Kyosho's good stuff.
if I take my 124 versus my 110, I don't care how poorly designed the 110 is and how good design from a capability standpoint the 24 is, the 110 is going to destroy it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of being bigger. And I think that's the scenario we're having now where a lot of people are like, but the 18s perform so much better. Yeah, of course. A bad 18 will outperform a good 24 just because it's bigger.
Unless I'm driving it.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
There's always a caveat.
To be
That's the asterisk. If I'm driving it, trash.
but that doesn't matter if it's an 18 or 24. Like,
Ken.
either way, it's rolling down the hill.
Thank you for crashing and letting me chat with you
Yeah.
for a few minutes. I've enjoyed it. I appreciate working with you.
Appreciate your help. Appreciate your channel.
Hit the quadfecta on your way out. Like, subscribe, comment, and then share. And let's get more people watching this stuff. And keep doing RC stuff. I'll see you next time. We're done. So here's some close-up action of some of the features we were talking about with this 8x8x2 rig that Ken built. We've got the clear wheels on here. We've got the cantilever suspension up front. Look at, oh my goodness, man, just look at that. That is so cool. It's just gnarly. So just a couple features that he's got on here. Here's a unicorn horn because the truck is a unicorn. No, that's actually his body mount. So yeah, and then obviously the 3Flow 9 steering link up front. That thing is super cool. And then there's just a close-up of the whole thing. Man, that's awesome.